1-1. Dick Kaufman, the third, the Giant pitches in the ball game and in the 6th inning. Now working, starting the last of the 7th. Gehrig swinging. It's a sky-high foul up on top of the stands in back of third base. Hits up at the edge of the upper facade and drops all the way back like a bum. Oh, that's one bum that people weren't dodging. They were fighting to get close to it. Kaufman comes down with a change of pace, just missing outside. Count levels at 2-2. Gehrig certainly had to lay the engineering eye on that one. Dick delivers, missing inside, and it's 3-2. Gehrig turned a little bit toward right field. Digs in solidly, standing on those piano legs of his. Takes outside for ball 4. And Gehrig is walked first up in the last of the 7th. That's walk number 3, given up by Kaufman. Walk number 6, given to the Yankees. Nobody out, last of the 7th. Gehrig now leading down off first. And Bill Dickey, who has 1 hit out of 3 tries, stands waiting. Batting left-handed. Very, very tall and slender for a catcher. Outfield toward right. Dickey pulls. Infield pull up around second. Bill takes a curve outside. Ball 1. Kaufman missing. Seven, 2-1 in favor of the Yankees. Nobody out, last of the 7th. The man on first. Low for ball 2. Kaufman's having trouble with his control. It's no new experience for Kaufman to be pitching against the Yankees. As most of his major league career has been in the American League. Washington with the Browns. Being released by the St. Louis Browns, came over to the National League with the Giants. Pitches inside. There's a throw down to first, not in time by Mancuso. And it's 3-0. 3-0 to Bill Dickey. Gehrig on first with a pass. Dickey set. Kaufman misses inside with his 3-0 pitch for ball 4, and Dickey trots off to first base, and Gehrig moves down to second. Of the 6 Yankees that Kaufman has pitched to, he's walked 4 of them. Dick Gamble's back onto the mound. Bill Terry standing out in front of the Giant dugout. Looks down into the dirt for the moment. Imagine Bill doesn't feel like joining a choir and singing one of his now famous solos. Batter up is Merrill Hogue, who drops a bunt down toward third and it rolls foul. Strike 1. Nobody out. Last of the 7th. 7-1 in favor of the Yankees. Gehrig on second, Dickey on first. Result of passes by second relief pitcher Dick Kaufman. Much attention was focused on the relief pitchers in the last of the 6th inning. And there was a slip-up on the generalship somewhere. Gumbert was announced, and he was sitting in on the dugout. Hadn't thrown a ball, hadn't even been in the bullpen. He had to hurriedly go out and pitch to one Yankee, even though Kaufman was announced following him. Kaufman couldn't come in until Gumbert pitched to one man. Now Hogue, a right-hand hitter, takes high outside. A throw down to second, isn't in time, and Bartell on the third base side of second base, leaning for the ball, has Husky Lou Gehrig come right into him, much as an end tries to take out an opposing tackle. Gehrig fighting to get back to the bag, and little Bartell in his way. Well, you can guess the result. Gehrig got back to the bag. 1-1. Hogue down in his crouch. He has 0 for 3. Doesn't choke the bat. Tries to bunt, and this one is popped foul back of third. So far, the Yankees this afternoon have been unable to lay down bunts when ordered, and then have been hitting with 2 strikes on them, base hits. It seems to be a pretty good baseball strategy. It's working today anyhow. working at 1,000. Now can Hogue continue the Yankee policy? 1-2. Buddy away. The runners lead off first and second. Kaufman twirls as though he will throw back to second, but he doesn't. Gehrig taking a long lead. There's a ground ball hit to third. Ott scoops it up towards the second, one away. The relay on to first. It's a double play. Gehrig moving down to third base. And Hogue was unable to continue that Yankee policy so far of the sixth inning. Trying to bunt, fouling off 2 pitches, then hitting safely. He fouled off his 2 bunt pitches, then hit into a double play. Ott to Whitehead to McCarthy. Gehrig on the double play, moving down to third, and 2 outs. That's the 7th. Up now is Selkirk. Turns sharply toward right. Swing, fouled it, spins around. Strike 1. George has 1 for 3. His singles came in the 6th. With all but one of the Yankee hits came. There was a sharp one wrapped through the hole between first and second out into right field. Outside, ball 1. 1-1. 2 out. Gehrig on third, 90 feet away. The Yankees lead 7-1. Outfield pulled around toward right. Selkirk takes a change of pace low. 2-1. Ormsby working balls and strikes. Paul behind first, Basil behind second, Stewart behind third. Kaufman comes in. It's an outside pitch which is rolled down to short. Bartell picks it up, throws over to first in time. McCarthy leaning in, makes the stretch and the pickup. That's all for the Yankees. And at the end of 7 innings, it is 7-1. Warren.
Well, Red, that was interesting to watch how Kaufman righted himself after that bad start out there. Since he got into this ball game, as you pointed out, he certainly was very wild, and after he walked the first 2 men in the inning, that seemed to me to be the opportunity for the Yankees to start a lot more trouble there. But the play that Ott made to turn that drive by Hogue into a double play helped Kaufman out considerably. And I suppose that the Yankees are content with what they have now, and I don't know as I blame them. 7 runs at this part of the ball game going into the first half of the 8th inning seem to be a lot of runs, considering the way that Gomez has been going since he started this ball game. Well, there's the first giant hitter coming up, Red, so back to you.
Burgess Whitehead will start it off as we go into the beginning of the 8th. At the end of 7 full innings, for the Yankees, 7 runs, 7 hits, and no errors, while for the Giants, 1 run, 5 hits, and 1 error. Burgess Whitehead, who has so far the only extra base hit, takes strike 1, call right down in there. First pitch of the 8th inning. He doubled. Last time up, he has 1 for 2. Swinging, it's a fly ball out into center field. DiMaggio waiting lazily under it and has it. It's all for Burgess. 1 up, 1 away in the 8th. And Wally Berger is coming out to bat for Kaufman. Big Wally Berger, former big fam of the Boston club of the National League. Well, there's not going to be any slip-up on who's going to pinch hit. Umpire Ormsby and the public address announcer meet, and they tell each other exactly what's coming off.
Berger, number 3, batting for Kaufman.
The first pitch to Berger is high outside, ball 1. Wally is the big strapping 6-footer, hitting right-handed. Gomez delivers. Berger swings. It's a high fly ball, long out in the center. DiMaggio waiting, takes it. It's off for Berger. 2 up, 2 away. Top of the 8th. Jojo Moore, the thin man of the Giants, or the Gauze Ghost, as he's sometimes called, now steps up to hit for his 4th time. Means the Giants are starting their 4th batting around. Joe singled through the middle in the 6th. He has 1 for 3. Hitting left-handed, then deep in the box. Takes strike 1, call. Sharp curve down above the knee. Moore is feared as one of the most dangerous first ball hitters in baseball, and he hasn't swung on a first pitch this afternoon. Takes low inside, ball 1. 1-1. Joe pumping that stick. Low outside. Moore's ahead. Gomez behind. Gomez comes in there. Low for ball 3. 3-1. Pitch. All right, 2. 3-2. Outfield toward right. Moore swinging. It's a high foul. Back of third. Croft goes over, but he cannot get it. Back into the boxes. Still 3-2. 2 out. Nobody on. John half of the 8th inning, which is the first of the 8th. The series is being opened. Yankee Stadium, the American League ballpark this year. The Yankees, the home club. 7-1. The argument of power supremacy. 7-1, favor the Yankees. Moore swings on another 3-2 pitch. This was a fly ball into short left field, and it drops safely in there for a base hit. Moore turns to the left at first and then holds on, dropping a fly ball single in short left field, about 15 feet inside the foul line. That's the second straight hit for Moore. He's the first Giant to have more than one blow. It's hit number 6 off Gomez, and it's the first hit off Gomez since Whitehead doubled with 2 out in the 5th. 2 out, Moore leading off first, and the batter is Dick Bartell, who has 1 for 3. Swings on the first pitch. It's a long line drive deep into left, and it's caught right back up against the stands by left fielder Poe. It's all for the top of the 8th. The Yankees are still a plus 6 runs. 1.
To be the effective pitcher that he has been right down the line, that base hit that Joe Moore dropped over there in the left field wasn't such a severe one that it would have startled anybody. And at all events, it came when there were 2 out, which is a good time normally for base hits to come, especially when there are no one on base. Since his little mishap in the 5th inning, Gomez has gone right straight through this ball game, and he's pitched, I wouldn't say remarkable baseball, but he's pitched the kind of baseball that people have been expecting from him. Because of the fact that Wally Berger was used as a pinch hitter in the game, we will have a chance this afternoon to look at 4 of the Giant pitchers. And Red, because we can never be sure who the Giant pitchers are after that practice that was established in the 6th inning, suppose you take a look at him out there and decide whether or not he's Smith. He looks like Smith to me. Do you think he is Smith?
Well, if he's not Smith, Warren, he's certainly wearing Al's uniform and looks just like him. Al Smith, turned out of a little left-handed curveball artist. The 4th Giant pitcher thrown against the Yankees here in the first game, 1937 World Series. Smith had just taken his place there on the mound, busily throwing down to Gus Mancuso. In the season of 36, Smith was just about tops for the Giant relievers. One time, Bill Terry said that he just about the best relief pitcher that he ever saw, especially coming in there with a curveball. However, this year, Al has not been tremendously effective, and the relief burden among the Giants has had to be shifted around from man to man. However, it's a well-known fact that when the Giants want some real relief pitching, Hubble has usually been the fellow that went out there and made 1 run stand up. First Yankee up in the last of the 8th inning is Tony Lazzari. Lots of people are now beginning to leave as we go into the last of the 8th inning. Lazzari hitting right-handed, swings on an inside pitch, missing for strike 1. A steady stream of people trying to beat the mob, which will be pouring out of Yankee Stadium in 6 more outs. Now leaving already. Lazzari takes low inside. 1-1. Al Smith coming on for the last of the 8th. And it's the New York Yankees, 7 runs, and the New York Giants, 1. 7-1. Smith comes down. High. 2. 2-1. Al's very stocky. Throws sort of side on. Doesn't wind up. Outfield is toward the left on Lazzari. Tony takes up against him for ball 3. 3-1. Smith taking the return from Mancuso, slowly back to the mound. comes down. It's in there, swung on and hit deep and far back into left, and it's a home run for Lazari. Fat pitch, as the boys say, that 3-1 came down in there and did Lazari go after it and get fat on it. The first home run of the 1937 World Series. Hit high, far into the lower spectators, deep behind left field and well up among them. No question about that. And now it's 8-1. And Gomez is up. Swings and misses, strike one. About the one thing left to make Gomez's cup of joy overflow is to get a base hit. He, like any other pitcher, dearly loves them. Gets back from one up against him, 1-1. Lazari really pickled one for keeps just a moment ago. Slip comes down for the curve in there. Called strike two. That one drove Gomez. Left-hand hitter back a step and then broke away from him and down over cleanly. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Gomez falls away from a pitch, pulls it deep into right field, and Ripple, misjudging it, then goes back to make a spectacular catch. Gomez, set to hit that pitch, fell into it, and got his whole weight behind it and drove it deep out into right. Ripple came in, misjudged it at first, then saw the ball was going to carry far over his head, started running back. 1 foot slipped underneath him, but still he managed to get strength from somewhere and leap high into the air to make a spectacular one-handed catch and save himself. Frank Rossetti hits the first pitch, a line drive right to Melot. And that's 2 away in the last of the 8th inning. Warren's going to tell you more about Ripple's catch. I can see him sort of licking his chops in preparation for that. A line drive hit by Rossetti to Melot for the second out. Now it's 2 away, last of the 8th inning. Nobody on, and Red Rolfe up. He has 1, 4, 3 official tries. Hitting left-handed, he tries to bunt and foul tips it. Strike one. Left-hand batter, left-hand pitcher, Al Smith, the 4th giant hurler in this ball game since the 6th inning. 8-1, favor of the Yankees. Outfield straight away. Drop doesn't go after it, but it's good. Call strike two. Smith burnt that one through his fastball. Ripple put it deep out and right. Off down in his crouch. Leans back from one inside. Ball one. 1-2. Off up there hitting. DiMaggio leaning down on his right knee on deck. Ralph cocks that stick back of his left ear. Swings. It's a high fly ball out into left field. Joe Moore goes back one step. Now comes in one and has it. That's all for the last of the 8th. Warren?
Fred, I noticed that you suggested that I was going to talk something about that catch that Ripple made in this inning. First, I want to say that this inning stirred memories in me rather than excited me about what happened here. When Tony Lazari got his home run this afternoon, the first one of the 1937 World Series, I was thinking about one that he made last year, which came with 3 men on bases. That was truly a sensational one, since that doesn't happen very often in World Series history. When Ripple started after that ball out there, believe it or not, Red, I was thinking of a catch he made in Chicago not long ago with 3 men on bases at a time when some of us thought that the pennant lay between the Giants and the Cubs. And if he hadn't made that catch with those 3 men on bases, why, maybe there would have been a little different in here. I think that's the way everybody accepted it, so that when Ripple went up in the air and caught Gomez's long drive, much as I hated to see Gomez lose in his life's ambition to make a base hit, I couldn't help thinking of that catch in Chicago. So now back to you, Red.
Melot takes the first pitch of the 9th inning. Called strike one. Gomez looking just as strong and fresh as when he started. Comes right back in. Odd swings and misses. Last one burnt down around the knees. Strike two. Gomez gives his trousers a little yank. Straightens up. Knees and elbows akimbo. He comes out of it. Strike three swinging. And on 3 pitches, Master Melvin is struck out to start the 9th inning. That's the second strikeout for Gomez. He got his first strikeout at the expense of Hank Lever with a third out in the first inning. And here is Hank up again. Hank has 0 for 3. The Yankees ahead 8-1. 1 out, nobody on, top of the ninth. John's batting. Lever takes low outside, ball 1. Gomez still shining brightly underneath that record of his of having never been beaten in World Series competition. Inside, and it's ball 2. 2-0. Outfield is very deep on Hank. If he gets a hold of it, he'll give it a ride. Pitch, right in. That one is taken. It's 2-1. A steady stream of people going out of every possible exit here at Yankee Stadium. They figured some time ago the outcome of the game was decided. Lever swings. It's a fly ball out into center. DiMaggio coming in, makes the catch on his chest. Two away, top of the ninth. Up steps Jimmy Repple, who found Major League Baseball was much more lucrative and pleasant than being an ambidextrous paper hanger. Outfield toward right. Triple hitting left-handed, takes inside against him, all 1. Jimmy looking very calm and cool. To say that he is a left-handed hitter is only half the truth. The pitch, called strike 1. When Ripple came to the Giants, he hit from either side of the plate. Terry insisted that he hit as a left-handed swinger. Low, outside, 1-2. The count slightly Jimmy's favor. 2 out, top of the ninth. Nobody on. The Yankees 7 runs to the good, leading 8-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Gomez delivers. Low outside, and it's 3-1. Ripple looking very coolly. He's 1 for 3 this afternoon. Single first up in the 5th inning. Ball 4. Walk going down to first base. And that's the first base on balls given up by lefty Gomez this afternoon. 7 of the Yankees received gratuities. Ripple on first, 2 out. Batter is young Jack McCarthy. Or John, if you don't know him very closely. Swings and misses. Strike 1. That one right down in there. McCarthy, slender, young first baseman. He's finishing his first year in the majors by participation in the World Series. Swings, foul tips that one back for strike 2. Gomez has promptly gone ahead of him with his first 2 pitches. 0-2 to McCarthy. Dickey down in his crouch. First baseman Gehrig back in his fielding post. Ripple's allowed to lead as far off first he wants to. High outside, ball 1. 1-2 to McCarthy. Gomez at the moment seems to be just slightly tired. He gives you the impression that he is trying to put a little bit more on the ball than he has any other time. Pitch is high. 2-2. Two out. Top of the ninth. McCarthy waiting. Dickey calls for the pitch. McCarthy swinging, foul tips it right back onto the screen. Count still hangs at 2-2. Field pulled toward right. Things are quiet right now. About the only hubbub from the spectators are those who are moving, trying to get out of the park. Pitch misses outside by a hair for ball 3. And it's 3-2 to Jack McCarthy. And now the running hit is on for Ripple at first base. He'll be breaking on Gomez's arm. He does. Pitches in, rolls slowly down toward first. Gehrig comes in to field it, picks it up, and tags McCarthy out as Jack comes running into first base. Gehrig with a big grin on his face, stuffs that baseball in his hip pocket, grabs Gomez by the hand. The 2 of them shake hands and are the first players off the field as they dash into the Yankee dugout and disappear from sight. And the Yankees win, would you say convincingly? Well, I don't know of a better word. And to speak a convincing truth, it's been a great deal of pleasure for this old redhead to be up here talking to you the last 4 innings. And now this is Red Barber handing you over to the very capable hands of Warren Brown, who is going to put you just right on how everything happened this afternoon, and plenty of it did. Warren.
Well, thank you, Red. And summing up this ball game, the first of the 1937 World Series, it was, after all, strictly a matter of pitchers. It started out that way between Lefty Gomez, the best pitcher, I suppose, in the American League, and Carl Hubble, who was certainly the superior left-hander in the National League. Right up until the sixth inning, it was a ball game between these two. And if anything, Hubble seemed to be the more effective of the two. In the fifth inning, the New York Giants had crowded Gomez sufficiently to score one run, which looked like a lot of runs. In that inning, manager Joe McCarty of the Yankees, who has steered them to a couple of pennants in a row and one World's Championship, had to make up his mind whether he wanted to pull his infield back and play for a double play and stake the Yankees or the Giants, I should say, to one run and take his chance on what would follow. That's what he did, pulled his infield back, and Gus Mancuso hit into a double play. Out of that, the Yankees were able to escape with only having the one run scored against them, which came in on the double play, and that was the one big inning, or the start of one big inning, that the Giants were able to have off Gomez all afternoon. On the other side of the field, Hubble, after walking one man and allowing a hit in the first inning, was unhittable right on through to the sixth inning. Then he did a thing which baseball folk always think, since there is a lot of superstition in baseball, they always think that if you walk the first man, and especially if you walk the pitcher, there's going to be trouble. I don't think that any of the more than 60,000 people in this Yankee Stadium this afternoon suspected that when Lefty Gomez got his base on balls to open the sixth inning, that there was going to be quite as much trouble as there was until the last man was retired. Before the last man was retired in that inning, the Yankees had driven Hubble out of the box, and because of a mistake in announcement, Harry Gumbert was in there in time to pitch to one man who got a base hit off him, and Dick Kaufman finally got the inning over. Before he did, there were 7 runs scored and 6 hits. And that was the ball game. Later on in the game, in the 8th inning, with a 4th Giant pitcher in action, Al Smith, Tony Lazzeri batted out the only home run, and incidentally, the only Yankee extra base hit of the ball game. That made the score 8 for the Yankees, at which they rested on their laurels in this first game. In looking over my scorebook here, I find that the Yankees have 8 runs and 8 hits, which seems to me to be a very effective way of doing business. Going into the game tomorrow, which will also be played at the Yankee Stadium, the second game of the series, I don't imagine either manager will change from his plans. Before the game today, Bill Terry told me that he intended to come in with Cliff Melton, and I imagine he will come in with him. Melton being the young left-hander who has won his 20 games in his first full year up here in the major leagues. Joe McCarty of the Yankees said that he intended to pitch red roughing tomorrow, and Joe was inclined to go a little further. When he talked to me, Joe is an old friend of mine, and he spoke his mind out to me down there in the Yankee dugout before the game. He said that he didn't think that he would go away from a platform that he established rather effectively last year. He said that it would be Gomez today, roughing tomorrow, and after that, Monty Pearson and Bump Hadley. And unless the Giants pull themselves together and tear after Melton, I imagine that's the way the Yankees will go through, with the same 4 pitchers that they used in the World Series last year. The game today was certainly an interesting one. There was a lot of spectacular fielding on both sides, and while there wasn't the tremendous burst of hitting that we've been led to expect from these two clubs, and particularly from the Yankees, who have capitalized on their power to win an American League pennant off by themselves, nevertheless, they did mass together and put across one big inning. All right, George Hicks, I'll say goodbye now, and it's yours.
Well, all I can say is that the game is over and that historical first marker is down. The chips are down and the Yanks are up. And the crowd is now pouring out. By the time the game was well underway, by the second inning, practically every seat in the Yankee Stadium was filled. There must have been close to the 60,000 mark and over. The new additions, you know, seats 71,000 at Yankee Stadium now. And so we've had the first game. Right now, as we look down from our tier, the third tier right at the edge over home plate, the diamond itself and the green outfield is simply dotted and spotted all over, and the exits crowded with these thousands of spectators who are taking home their memories of the first game of the 1937 World Series. As I looked at it, very much of a spectator this afternoon, the walk of Gomez in the sixth and that slashing single to center by DiMaggio with the bases loaded for the first runs, well, I think that broke Hubble's heart and the Giants' spirit for the game today. And by the way, the only homer today was Lazzeri's, the first man up in the eighth. He pulled a terrifically long and high homer into the left field grandstand. It must have gone at least 400 feet. Nobody on, but that was the homer of the day. And so I guess that's about all we can say. This has been brought to you by the NBC and its associated stations from coast to coast. We'll be back on the air tomorrow, of course, with the second game from the same position at Yankee Stadium. As you know, the first two games are played at the stadium, and then the third, fourth, and if there is a fifth, at Polo Grounds, and the sixth and seventh at the Yankee Stadium if necessary. We'll be back on the air tomorrow at our regular time, 1:15 Eastern Standard Time. That's 12:15 Central, 11:15 Mountain, 10:15 Pacific Standard Time. Your announcers will be Tom Manning of Cleveland, Red Barber of Cincinnati, and Warren Brown, sports editor of the Chicago Herald-Examiner. And so, well, that's all. Till tomorrow. George Hicks announcing. This program is brought to you through the National Broadcasting Company.
We wish to thank the American Home Products Corporation, makers of Old English Wax, Louis Philippe Lipstick, and Colonos Toothpaste, Sterling Products Incorporated, makers of Phillips Facial Cream, McKesson and Robbins, makers of Kellogg's Tooth Powder, and the Procter & Gamble Company, makers of Camay, Oxidol, Crisco, and Ivory Soap, for their courtesy in relinquishing the time for their programs usually heard over some of these stations in order that the National Broadcasting Company might bring you a description of the World Series baseball game.